Hopefully nothing will go wrong. That's wishful thinking. Hey internet, it's Jessica and welcome back to Cinderella Phenomenon with Waltz's Root. And in the last episode, we did encounter Varg once again, and now he seems to, I want to say Fritz seems to know more about his, or believes that he is cursed rather than like the other roots where we try to tell him, I think you're cursed, and he's like, what? I don't think so. So it's like he believes it now, like more likely, and now it's causing trouble because he knows where the Martian is, and he tried to kidnap Lucette, and obviously that didn't work because the bros happened. Karma and Waltz tried to save her, but unfortunately Waltz got injured, so let's see what happens now. Delora calls for Rumple as soon as we arrive at the Martian. When Rumple enters the reception area, he is clearly distraught by Waltz's injuries. What happened? Heal first, explain later. I expect Rumple to object, and I am surprised when he does nothing more than a nod. Carefully, Rumple leads Waltz back to his room so that he can be treated. Dolores looks in the direction Rumple and Waltz had gone with a thoughtful look on her face. We're lucky that we have Rumple here with us. Anise is good with herbs and small wounds, but Rumple has experience with more serious injuries. Experience? What are you talking about? Remember his curse? Rumple is not the only one who does not remember who he is. None of the townsfolk remember his name either. But what does that have to do with the curse? Shouldn't they at least still be able to remember his name? Rumple is an exception to the rule, as he is with many things. In his case, not a single person can remember his name. Funny thing is, they can still recognize him. He ran into someone back who called him doctor today. Even just hearing it brought a memory back. He's gotten one of the chapters in his journal back now. He is quite the proficient doctor. He collects his journal pages by retrieving memories from others that still remember him. What a strange curse. My eyes wander around the reception area and I notice that someone is missing. Where's Karma? Don't worry about him, he's probably changing now. I don't understand why Karma is so secretive about his reasons for wearing a disguise. I'm about to ask Delora if she knows anything about the specifics of Karma's curse when the door in the reception area is thrown open. Princess! I'm surprised when Anise suddenly throws her arms around me. Oh! She pulls me into a tight hug. I was so worried about you, thank goodness you're safe. She pulls away and begins to wipe the tears that has sprung from her eyes. Why are you crying? Because I was worried about you, silly. She was really worried, so she cried? Why? I'm so intensely aware of the awkwardness of the situation. Thank you for worrying about me. I had thought the words might do something to ease her worries, but her sobs only grow louder. Anise? I'll get you something warm to drink. Oh, what a sweetheart! I stare off after Anise before I turn to look at Delora worriedly. Did I say the wrong thing? Quite the opposite, actually. You made her very happy. I did? But she was crying. They're called tears of joy, princess. I'd be overwhelmed too if you were suddenly nice to me. What the hell, Delora? Miracles tend to bring people to tears. I just said thank you. And that was a kindness in itself. No wonder she's so happy. I was being kind? And congratulations, princess. I see that you managed to complete your first good deed. My hand moves instinctively to the pendant. I clutch in a new piece and that hangs there. I mentioned this in the last episode, but I like that in this route, Lucette's like good deeds are more personal for her because they reflect like what she wants or what she wanted in her life. So I think it's much more personal this time. I knew you could do it. Dolores smiles warmly. For some reason, it makes me feel strangely proud. Parfait walks into the room, staring at both of us. It has been 2 weeks since I last saw her. Her face is ashen. Parfait? You know that continuously using your magic takes a toll on your body. I have no choice. The witches... Her voice trails off as her eyes meet Delora. Parfait and Delora look at each other solemnly. The tension in the room mounts as they continue to stare at each other without uttering a word. Eventually, Parfait's eyes wander to me. Keeping her in the dark won't make the situation any better, Delora. Parfait moves towards me, but her knees buckle. Before I can react, Delora's already at her side, supporting her. Parfait, you need to rest. I'll take care of this. No, she needs to hear this from both of us. What is going on? We wanted to tell you about this later, but we can no longer afford to wait. Delora helps Parfait to a chair. I tentatively take a seat in the opposite of two of them. We're going to tell you a whole truth about the situation. The whole truth? Delora sighs before she eventually speaks. Do you know why I cursed you, princess? Some twisted sense of mischief? That's not the whole reason. We needed you to change your ways, princess, to change how you see the world. If you didn't do something, you were going to end up merciless and cold-hearted as your mother. What are you talking about? My eyes go to Parfait, but she doesn't meet my gaze. Hildur, your mother, was not always so cruel. Parfait's eyes look wet, as if she's about to cry. No! Why are you speaking as if you knew her? She was my friend. Long before she was queen, Hildur was like a sister to me. But she changed when the witch hunt started. What does the witch hunt have to do with mother? Parfait does not meet my eyes, but Dolores is looking right at me. Your mother was a witch, Lucette. The most powerful of the witches, in fact. My heart drops into the pit of my stomach. No, that's impossible. I never saw her use magic. She cannot be a witch. That's what she wanted you to believe. You cannot keep something like that a secret. If you try hard enough, you can keep anything a secret. Even from your own family. But how? Dolores pauses for a long moment before she speaks. She erased your memories, Lucette. The air leaves my lungs as I struggle to remain calm. Waltz said that Mother ordered my memories to be erased, but... Are they saying that it was Mother herself who erased my memories? Jagged pieces of my memories and thought began to snap together in my mind. She needed you to be obedient and compliant. Whenever you acted out, she took out that memory of disobedience from you. And it didn't take long at all to mold you into her perfect and unquestioning little doll. I grip my dress without realizing and my hands are shaking. Then I did know Waltz. Mother really did erase my memories of him. How much of my childhood did I lose? Hildur cherished humans before. She was kind and selfless. She was devoted to maintain a balance between the Lucius and the Tenebrium. But Hans... Dolores moves to place a gentle hand on Parfait's shoulder. It's not your fault. I trusted him too much. He swore that they would only be stories, small fantasies to share with children. Hildur wanted to turn him away, but I disagreed. I allowed Hans to weave his tales about witches and fairies. Fairy tales? Dolores nods. Hans' fairy tales became hugely popular, and in every single one of his stories, it was a witch who was bad and a fairy who was good. To add insult to injury, it was well known that Hans had been welcomed by the Lucius Bear, and not by the Tenebrium Bear. The humans took that information and their imaginations ran wild. Hildur and I went to Hans to beg him to tell him the truth, but it was too late. No matter what Hans said, everyone believed that he was being threatened by the witches. I don't think he ever meant for those things to get out of hand either. When the king had the time, your grandfather also voiced his negative opinions on witches. He only added fuel to the fire. It was as if he was giving humans permission to carry on with their witch genocide. And we could do nothing to defend ourselves. We were bound by oath to never hurt a living soul. The witch hunt lasted for years. Most of us were slaughtered. All witches are bound to the Tenebrium Bearer, though the Tenebrium itself, Hildur felt each of its deaths like it was her own. It drove her mad, and she broke our oath. She killed the king, your grandfather. Mother killed my grandfather? As Hildur's powers kept growing, more and more good witches were corrupted through the influence of the Tenebrium. Huh, it's interesting. I don't think we heard that part. Like, she actually killed the grandfather. Because all we heard was, like, she swooped down, told the king to marry her, and then everybody was, like, under her control. I had no idea she killed the grandfather. That's messed up. I tried to stop her, but she was already lost to reason. Hildur wanted to take Angielle for the witches. She wanted to take revenge on the humans for what they had done to all of us. And since your father was next in line, Hildur forced Gennaro to marry her so she would have the legitimate claim to the throne. And she did it even though she knew he loved another woman. The very woman who sits on the throne today. Ophelia? Dolores nods. The king has always loved Ophelia? Hildur created the Fairytale Curse to punish the humans. She wanted to fuel the Tenebrium with their hatred and anger. Parfait's voice becomes soft. The balance between dark and light was lost. While Hildur lived, Angielle was a place of grief. I can feel the impending headache coming. But even if what you're saying is true, Mother is dead. She's been dead for 4 years. She is. But for some reason, the witches are becoming more active. She's not dead. Ooh, she's not dead. Harlan and Durin's patrols have confirmed this. Patrols? Is that why they disappear at night? I have casted a glamour on you so that the other witches may not be able to recognize you as the princess. But it seems like they've already seen through your glamour. They're looking for you, princess. The witches are looking for you. What? Why? The Tenebrium needs a bearer. A witch needs to take that role on and regulate the balance between the Lucius and the Tenebrium. For the past few years, I have been in a state of hibernation. We believe Hildur infused her life into the Tenebrium to keep it stable. But now, the Tenebrium is beginning to wake again. We believe that's why so many people are being cursed lately. The witches are preparing for their new bearer. Delora turns to me with an expression that I cannot quite read. They only have to wait until you turn 18. The air in the room seems to disappear all at once. Princess, on your 18th birthday, your curse will break regardless of whether you complete your 3 good deeds. And you will become the Tenebrium bearer. You will inherit that title and the power from your mother. Impossible. My heart is racing and I feel faint. Even if mother was a witch, I cannot use magic at all. All halflings like you inherit their magic at 18. No, I'm human! Princess. Delora's expression is grim as she speaks. We've been watching over you for a long time, Lucette. We know what sort of influence your mother had on you. The curse was a test. We needed to know that you wouldn't return to Angielle to what it was when your mother was queen. We cannot allow another great war to tear Angielle apart. Delora and I believe there is still goodness left in you. You just needed a wake-up call, thus the curse and 3 good deeds. We wanted to see what you had in years, to be exposed to the true reality of things. And all above, we needed to see that you were capable of 3 good deeds. I attempt to grasp the fleeting thoughts in my mind, but to no avail. I feel numb. That's it, no more secrets. Parfait's voice is gentle when she speaks to me. The future of this kingdom is in your hands. Will you follow your mother's footsteps, or will you achieve the same balance that we had before? That's a lot of information to take in for someone who didn't even know her mother was a bitch. No matter how much I try, I am unable to sleep after my talk with Delora and Parfait. Mother was a wicked witch, and I am the next bearer of the Tenebrium? It all makes sense now. So many people hated me because they thought I would be just like mother. I feel the weight of that truth crash down on me and it's suffocating. What am I supposed to do now? I turn onto my side and bring my knees to my chest. How do I know what the truth is anymore? Suddenly, an idea occurs to me. There is one other person who might know the truth. Waltz. I wonder how he's doing. I slip out of my room and make my way towards Waltz's. Waltz is sound asleep when I push the door into his room open. He looks so small on the bed. I pause to look at the hefty amount of herbs lying on the table. Those herbs. I remember Anise told me once that they help with pain. Rumple and Anise had given Waltz a lot of them. I thought about the truth of mother retreated to the back of my mind as I remember the encounter with Varg. Waltz would never have gotten her if it wasn't for me. My eyes begin to sting. Oh. Okay, I obviously hold back the tears is what the mother wanted, so I'm pretty sure we have to cry. For the first time in years, I let my tears flow up freely. I don't even know why I'm crying. I find myself talking aloud. You said that crying doesn't make a weak person, but it certainly makes me feel that way. You're not weak, princess. Oh, Waltz! Oh, this poor guy. Waltz? When did he wake up? You're the strongest person I know. Waltz's voice is soft and his words are slurred. He is clearly under the influence of the medication he's been given, but he still continues to speak. Despite everything you've gone through, you're still standing on your own 2 feet. Cannot lie anymore. I have only been pretending to be a strong person, but I cannot live like this anymore, knowing that all this time I have been living a life full of lies. I'm questioning even my mother's affection right now. Another dangerously glooming thought hangs in the brink of my mind. If mother did not care about me, that means no one did at all. I do. Ah! I care about you, Lucette. Waltz's voice begins to grow weak as his eyes flutter closed. You're tired, Waltz. You should sleep. Lucette. His voice is slurred and slow, but hearing him say my name without the title somehow feels nostalgic. Please don't cry, little star. Oh no! Is that what he called him when she was a little kid? Oh! That's so sweet! Waltz closes his eyes, finally surrendering to the sleep. I take in a deep breath and leave his room, closing the door quietly behind me. Oh no! Again! Okay. Abracadabra! Teach me how to do it too! A magician never reveals his secrets, little star. Oh my god, it's Waltz and Lucette when they're kids! You always say that. Please, please, please! Just this once. Please, Waltz? On your birthday, I'll teach you how to do it on your birthday. Promise? Promise. Oh. I wake up slowly, the dream somehow still clear in my mind. A dream about Waltz? Was that a memory? I shake my head before I glance at the clock, stopping to stare at the time. How is it already this late? Princess? Waltz? The door opens and Waltz walks inside with a tray of food. Isn't he injured? Why is he up right now? He sits down by my bedside and I stare at him in shock. You're finally awake! Waltz, you're supposed to be in bed. I'm only injured, not invalid, Princess. But I'm fine, Princess. It's not like you to worry so much. I respond to his smile with an exasperated sigh. He will never heal properly if he does not stay in bed. Here, I wanted to give you this yesterday. Waltz reaches behind his back to pull a neatly wrapped box. It looked like he pulled out of thin air. Another magic trick? He hands me the wrapped box. What's this? You'll need to open it to find out. See, I told you he was gonna get the doll for her. You've been wanting this, haven't you? I stared down at the doll he bought me. It is the same one that caught my eye at the shop. The reason we went to the toy shop was so that you could buy this for me? Yep, I'm glad it didn't get any damage last night. My chest tightens with emotion. These dolls were expensive. Waltz would have needed more than just his usual show tips to buy this. Why would you buy this for me? I figured you might want an extra company. Plus, you've always loved dolls, so I thought this one might cheer you up. I stare at the doll as I cradle her head in my hands, my heart feeling full in my chest. Thank you. I had never gotten an unexpected gift like this before. Waltz clears his throat, and when I look at him, I notice that his expression is somehow sad. Lady Parfait told me that she and Delora already told you the whole story yesterday. I have to apologize to you. For what? The reason why they didn't tell you earlier is because I asked that they keep it a secret. I look down at the doll, my mouth suddenly dry. Why? Because I wanted you to enjoy having a normal life, even if it was just for a short time. Knowing the truth limits your freedom, I didn't want you to feel like that pressure so soon. But I can see now that it was selfish of me to deprive you of the truth. I'm sorry. I clutched tighter at the doll, unable to look up at Waltz. How would you be so kind without expecting anything in return? Kindness doesn't always need to be paid back. When you do something for someone, they will always expect the favor to be returned. That is what Mother taught me. For what I have experienced, no one is ever kind without expecting something in return. I don't expect anything from you in return, Princess. But how can I know for certain that you're speaking the truth? Well, you can't. No matter what someone's true intentions are, their actions are always up for a different interpretation. Still, it'll be up to you to judge their actions. Only you can decide whether or not to believe that in me. I pull my knees to my chest, curling around the doll. Still don't understand how you can be kind to me. You told me yourself it was the Tenenbaum bear that cursed you. That means my mother. Your mother was the witch that took away my magic and sealed it in Neverland, but that does not mean it is your fault and I am cursed. You are more than just Hilda's daughter, Princess. You're your own person. I know that for a fact you're capable of more goodness than Hilda ever was. Waltz gestures towards my necklace. You're only two good deeds away from breaking your curse. I would not have accomplished the first one without your help. In fact, I have done nothing to help break your... My voice chills up as my thoughts begin to come together. Waltz, to break your curse, you need to find Tinkerbell in Neverland, right? What do they look like? Neverland is a gold box with a carving of wings on top. Tinkerbell is the matching key. I sit up abruptly. We have to go to the palace. Waltz stares at me, his expression clearly perplexed. What? Why? Because I know where to find Tinkerbell in Neverland. Yep, she does. I like that his nickname for Lucette is Little Star. That's so sweet. Waltz's description of Neverland and Tinkerbell was enough to jog my memory. A long time ago, Mother gave me a box and key that matches Waltz's earlier description perfectly. She gave me strict instructions to hide them in my room and never to let anyone else have them. I never questioned Mother's orders, and I kept the box and key tucked in one of the drawers. I forgot I even had those things until Waltz mentioned them. The minute I remembered, I sent a letter to Rod requesting he help us get into the palace. I knew that our strained relationship would make it harder for him to trust me, so I emphasized the importance of an item we needed to obtain. 1 week later, He finally came through. Now we're just on the outside of the palace waiting for him. Jern and Garland are here to protect us in case the need arises. I glanced at Waltz, who is standing beside me, fidgeting. He has been against me coming with him ever since he found out my plans. He cannot stop me. I refuse to be left behind. You still won't change your mind about this, princess? You know the situation with the witches. It's not safe for you to be here. It's not safe for me to be anywhere outside of the Martian, and you know that. Besides, how do you plan on finding Neverland and Tinkerbell without me? I'm the only one who knows where they are. Like I said, if you would just tell me where they are, I can go to my own. There's no need for you to put yourself in this much danger. I am going, and you cannot stop me, Waltz. Princess. I turned to face him fully. This is my choice, Waltz. I want to do this. For a moment, there is silence between us. Waltz studies my expression. He eventually sighs and shakes his head. Should have known by now. There's no changing your mind when you're determined, to do something. Just promise to stay close to me, okay? I nod absently as I feel around my pockets for a small object, a vial that Parfait gave to me before Waltz and I left the palace. She said that it should help us when the need arises. It is a shame that neither Parfait nor Laura could be here due to their urgent meeting with the fairies. You know what? I think if they showed up, they'd probably die like the last route. I don't need that again. Jern and Garland finally arrived with the rod. Ready? I can only nod in reply. Hopefully nothing will go wrong. That's wishful thinking. We make our way through the secret passageway. I've heard of the secret passageway from the king before, but this is the first time I had ever been here. They say this was built as an escape route should they need to evacuate the royal family arise. Only the commander of the Order of the Caldriel and the king know about this place. Rod, how did you even know about this place? How did you get the key? I thought that only the king and Sir Alcaster had copies. So Lady Parfait showed me this place and gave me the key. I can't leave the palace unattended under normal circumstances, so she suggested I go through here whenever I need to get to the Martian. Then, how was she able to get a copy of the key? What? You should ask her that yourself. Anyway, you haven't have told me what you needed from your room. It's an item that will break Waltz's curse. I see. Why did it take so long for you to respond to my letter? The palace has been high alert since last week. Why? Rod stops and looked at me, the hesitation clear in his eyes. Did something happen? A week ago, the king received a letter, a warning. A letter? It said that 3 days from now, the king will be judged and convicted. His crown will be given to one more worthy. I stared at Rod and with a slow understanding. 3 days from now? But that day... Your 18th birthday. I continued to stare at Rod in disbelief. That cannot be a coincidence. But a new king? Do you think someone is specifically targeting my father? We all know that the royals are always in danger. But this threat has made the king especially nervous. Are the witches involved in this? The silence that falls within the tunnel is heavy. They think there is a good chance it must be. That's why the Order of Caldriel has tightened their security. We continue walking in silence. Eventually, Rod points out something ahead of us. Here we are. The dim light of the tunnel illuminates a rusted door that leads us into the palace. Rod looks around warily, while Waltz and I continue to duck into the shadows of the column. The guards will be doing their rounds on this side soon. We need to hurry. Right. The hallways are thankfully quiet as we traverse them. Rod did a good job at scoping out the times of patrol. Eventually we reach my room. I stop at my door to my room, suddenly overwhelmed by nostalgia. It's been a long time since I've been in my room. Is this Emmeline's room now? No, by the king's order, your room has been untouched since you were cursed. Then, what has become of this room? I look at Rod in shock as he studies my door to my room with a complicated expression on his face. I think the maids are sent in there to just dust occasionally, but otherwise everything should be just as it was before. But why would the king keep the room as it is if he does not remember me? I turned back to the door thoughtfully, then glanced at Rod. We can handle the rest. You should leave before you draw any unwanted attention. I do not want you to get in trouble. Don't worry, we'll figure out a way to get back to the passageway without alerting anyone. What? You've changed. What do you mean by that? You never would have cared about someone else's safety before. Rod turns to leave before I can respond. Be careful. Thank you. Alright, thanks, Rod. Carla and I will stand outside. Make it quick. I nod to Jern before turning back to the door and turning the knob. I glance at Waltz as he nods at me. I take a deep breath and open the door. Rod told me that my room had been untouched since I left, but I was not expecting it to be like this. Nothing has changed. Not a thing out of place. There's not even a speck of dust on the dolls on my shelves. Lucette? I am confused as to why this room has been untouched. Certainly the king would have thought to do something else with it. Or at least the very least, he would have not had the maids come in and consistently clean it. But I can't let myself linger in the question. I have no time for them. Came here to find Neverland and Tinkerbell. I look at Waltz and nod. Let's start searching. Time passes, but I am only able to find the key. The box is nowhere to be found, not even the drawer that I remember putting it in. To think that you had Neverland and Tinkerbell this whole time. Have you tried searching for it in my room before? I have, but I didn't find anything. She must have used a glamour magic to hide it from me. I stare at the key in frustration. So I'm wondering if what's-his-face, Varg took the box or Mithros, like one of them took it. I don't understand. I'm sure it was here. Are you sure you didn't throw it away? No, I would never throw such a beautiful box. Besides, I kept most of my things. They were all valuable to me, even if they were not outwardly beautiful. I wouldn't have believed you if you haven't seen this. He leaned down to pluck a puppet from one of my drawers. He holds it with a smile, and I feel my cheeks heat in embarrassment. Aw, is that one like he used to use when he was a kid? I never remember to throw that out. Waltz gazes at me thoughtfully. That's the only reason? Well, I look at the puppet in his hand to find the truth spilling out to me. I was never able to put a finger on why, but I've always liked that puppet. A smile stretches across Waltz's face. You kept it even though I did such a bad job with the sewing. What? You made this? Yeah. This is the first puppet I ever made. Oh! Oh no, sweet child. He gave her the first one. That's so sweet. Waltz turns to the puppet in his hand, looking down at it fondly before his eyes meet mine. You were the one who taught me how to sew in the first place, you know? Oh, that makes sense because she takes good care of her dolls and whatever. That's sweet. And she always wants to make clothes and stuff. What? I was the one who taught him how to sew. I stare at the puppet. Probably kept it because you made it. How cruel. Huh? Do you have any idea what you're doing to my poor heart? You seem perfectly fine to me. Waltz shakes his head and sighs. Waltz? So dense. What? The knob begins to turn. Waltz and I exchange glances before we both dart to different hiding places. I turn myself to hide under the bed. He runs behind the curtains, which is more easily concealing a smaller body. Oh, I thought it was Varg for a second. The king? What is he doing here? When the king steps inside, he knows that there's something in his hands. Why does he have that? That's the box. But why does he have it? I look to Waltz and he gives me a small nod, affirming that it is indeed Neverland. Who's there? Show yourself now if you don't want to get hurt. The king unsheathes his sword. What should we do? I look to Waltz, who is signaling me to stay in place. He mouths something, and I think he might say something that he means to find us a way out. Is Waltz going to sacrifice himself again? Will he be alright? Should I trust him? Uh-oh, okay, I need to save. Nope. Oh, no. God damn, we probably have to listen to him, right? Alright. I nod at Waltz. He steps out of the curtains and raises his hand in surrender. Forgive me, your majesty! I know you. You were Hilder's apprentice. Waltz, was it? I remember that Waltz would work for Mother, so naturally the king would know who he was. It's been a while, your majesty. I'm honored you still remember me. You haven't changed at all. Not at all. Yeah, because he looks like a boy still. So Hilda really did curse you for betraying her. Betraying her? Betraying her how? The king places his sword on his back and its scabbard. I had no idea what you're doing here now, but the king surprises us both by getting down on one knee and bowing to Waltz. Your majesty, you shouldn't! I was never able to thank you after the war, so thank you. You did so much for our kingdom, Waltz. So, thank you. We owe you our lives. If only all witches were good as you. The king stands once again, his posture stiff and straight. There were more of us than you think, your majesty. I am lost. What are they talking about? But I didn't do it for the kingdom. Waltz turns to look at me suddenly, a small smile on his face. I did it for her. Oh! No! He's such a good friend! Oh my god. Her? Who are you talking about? Waltz nods his head at me. It's alright, Lucette. I slide out of my hiding spot and stand in front of the king. It has been months since I last saw him. The king's eyes widen as he looks at me. You're the girl from the gates. You remember me? It's more like I find it impossible to forget you. What? I have a lot of questions for the two of you, but the most important is why are the both of you in this room? Regardless of the fact I know you, Waltz, you still have broken into the palace? We would have not done it if we did not have to. Further, scolding when the king turns to look at me. That box you were holding, we needed to break Waltz's curse. How did you come to have it, your majesty? The king looks down at the box, as if only noticing it for the first time. I was in this room the other day and I noticed a chip on the side of the box. I took it to get it fixed. A chip? I did drop it once a while back, but did nothing to get it fixed myself. Why would you do that? The king looks around the room, a far away look in his eyes. This room is special to me, though I do not know why. I feel like this room and I are both waiting for someone to return, and everything must be perfect when they do. I feel my chest tighten even if the king huffs out a deserved laugh. What am I saying? Cannot miss me when he doesn't even remember me. He can't. Right? But if this box is all that you require, Waltz, you may have it. It is the least I can do after all that you have done for us. The king holds the box out to Waltz, who reaches out to take it. Thank you, your majesty! Look who we have here. Let me guess, is it Varg? I swear to God. We all freeze at the sound of the new voice. I turn to find an all too familiar figure leaning against the doorway, a mischievous grin on his face. What a sweet little reunion. Varg? Chapter 6, Betrayals! Oh no! Okay guys, I'm gonna end the episode right here. So, I feel happy knowing that, like, how close Waltz was to Lucette and how much she cared about her, which is really sweet. And they gave her a nickname called Little Star. That's so cute. Like, honestly, it's so adorable. But also it's also nice seeing that the king, you know, we all know the king cares about Lucette, but it's showing more in this route rather than the other ones that he actually really does care about Lucette. If you guys enjoyed this episode of Cinderella Phenomenon, remember to leave a like, comment, and subscribe to join the companions. And if you'd like to help support the channel on Patreon, there's a link in the description. Get early access to videos for Patreon only, the Discord server to come talk to me, and a bunch of other stuff as well. Or you can support the channel for free on Gawkbox. That's gawkbox.com/AGirlAndAGame. Currently, I do have November goals set up right now, so if you guys reach goal 1, which is $50 on Gawkbox, you guys get Beyond Two Souls, Let's Play, and at 100, I will read another smutty fanfiction for you. One of my smutty fanfictions. So that should be interesting. Anyway, please let me know in the comments what you guys thought about this video, or how the story is going so far, and I'll see you guys in the next episode. Bye! He was warm and smelled nice. It doesn't matter, man! Is this okay? Is this okay? Like, oh my god, you're supposed to ask for forward or develop another character. Video game deaths can be tragic. Here are 6 sad character deaths from video games. Roman, Grand Theft Auto 4.